parallelogram, can I draw it like this? Right?
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
what is the symbol of showing lines parallel without writing it? You put the same number of arrowheads pointing the same direction. Right? So this is showing that this line, yellow line, is parallel to this yellow line, right? And now when these two lines, they're also parallel, right? Okay, beta. So what is a parallelogram? A parallelogram has got opposite sides parallel. And opposite sides equal. Right or not, beta ji?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll put arrowheads on this one as well. Got it, beta? So this is clearly showing that the yellow lines, they are parallel to each other, and black lines, they are parallel again. Okay. Now, what else do we know about parallelogram? First of all, beta, in 8th standard, because we have entered into 8th standard now, it's not only about angles and sides this time. We'll start learning about diagonals as well. Do everyone knows here that what is a diagonal?
Yes, ma'am.
Diagonal is a line which joins opposite vertices. So when I talk about this vertex here, what is the vertex opposite to this? Is this the vertex opposite to this, Sridhar?
Ma'am, no, ma'am.
No, this one's opposite. Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
So this one's the adjacent vertex.
Adjacent.
This one's adjacent and this one's opposite. Right,
Okay,
beta?
ma'am.
Dekho, why is this adjacent? Because it has got the same arm in common, no? Hai na? So when you have same wall common with your neighbor, you call them your adjacent neighbors, right? But when they are facing you, no, you are facing them and they are facing you. You don't have any wall in common, right? Not parallel, beta. You call them opposite. Jaise, if this is my house and this is my friend's house, right? So I'll call it as my friend is living opposite to my house, right? And if this is my mama's house, what will I call this? I'll call it as my mama's house is adjacent to my house because I have got this wall in common with him, right? What is adjacent? When you have something in common. And what is opposite? When you have nothing in common, you're facing each other. That's opposite. Right, beta? So what is the opposite vertex here? The opposite vertex is this one. So both these white vertex, they are opposite to each other. Now when I say a line joining opposite vertex, this is my diagonal. Right, beta ji?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? And let me draw the other opposite sides as opposite vertices as well. Now what is this? This is the second diagonal we have, right? So we have got two diagonals in a parallelogram, right? Abhi number of diagonals calculate karne ka formula I'll give you. Abhi ke liye in this picture we can see that there are two diagonals in this. Now, beta ji, clearly observe that in a parallelogram both the diagonals, they are not equal. If this red one is 4, this one is a little longer one. Cannot you see this, that clearly this red one is a little smaller than this white one?
Yes,
so if this is 4, this can be anything, 4.5, 4.8, 4.2, whatever, but this will be slightly longer than this. And it will elongate. Agar मैं देखो, this is my parallelogram I am making, right? So मैं जितना इसे narrow करती जाऊंगी, utna difference between the two diagonals will increase. देखो, this has become so small and this has become so long. So when I am narrowing my parallelogram, utna greater will be the difference between both the diagonals. Got it, beta ji, or not?
Yes,
and utna hi zyada, the greater would be the difference between both the angles as well. Right? Abhi I am coming to angles as well of parallelograms. So abhi ke liye we have understood that the diagonals of a parallelogram are not equal. Got it, bacha? Now I'm coming to the angles in this. So for angles, let me clear this a little. Right, Bitaji. Now see, bacha, everyone pay attention here. To make this concept clear to you, I'll give you the concept first. Dekho, if I draw two parallel lines, beta, and I draw one transversal to it. You must have read this in 6th standard, 7th standard. What is a transversal? When you have got two parallel lines and there is a line, a common line, which is cutting both the parallel lines, we call it a transversal. So this arrow, this yellow one with the arrowheads is a transversal. It's a transversal. So whenever I cut two parallel lines with a transversal, the angles that I have on the same side of the transversal, the interior angles on the same side of transversal, which are also known as co-interior angles. Because they are interior angles, but they are accompanying each other, hai na? They are on the same side of it. So you call them co-interior angles. Or you can also call them as interior angles on the same side of a transversal. These yellow ones that I have shaded here, you can also call them as interior angles on the same side of a transversal, but this is a very long name. So what is the name very commonly used these days in books is co-interior angles. So when you have two co-interior angles, they always add up to 180. Okay. Their sum is 180 always. Right, bache? So if I see here this angle and this angle, aren't they co-interior angles? Because parallelogram mein we have just now said that the lines are parallel, right?
Yes,
so this black line and this black line, they are parallel. है ना बेटा? I'm not drawing geometrically, तो हो सकता है थोड़ा सा इधर उधर जा रहा हो, but जब हम constructions करेंगे तो we'll make sure we are doing it correctly. अभी तो we are roughly understanding it. So it's okay if lines are going a little here and there. Right, bache? So what is this now? This is yellow one. In this diagram also is my transversal and black ones are parallel lines, right? And these two angles that I have got, they are co-interior angles. Iska matlab their sum should be 180, right or not? Okay. So if I say that this is 60-degree angle, what is the measure of this angle? Can anyone tell me?
120.
120, obviously, hai na? If this is 60, what I'll do from 180, when I subtract 60, I'll get 120. Got it, Shrikant, or not?
Got it, ma'am.
Prisha, got it? No, any issues? Prisha, you're frozen for me, beta. Okay. So now the same applies with this, beta. Everyone pay attention here. Dekho, these yellow ones also are parallel, no? And we read this, no? When we studied the opposite sides parallel, we read this that yellow lines, they are also parallel, right? And this time this black one is acting as a transversal. Isn't it? Right or not? So again, this angle, this yellow one and this one, they are both again co-interior, right? So if again they are co-interior, that means if this is 60, this has to be 120, right? Can you see here, bache log? The opposite angles, they have come equal. Right or not, Pitaji? And the same way when you think for this one, this again goes 60. So this also has become equal. So in parallelogram, opposite angles, they are always equal. Right, Bitaji, or not? Is this clear with everyone or not?
Clear, ma'am.
And one more property which we'll write here is that we have come to know that the adjacent angles, they are supplementary. And why are they supplementary? Because they are co-interior angles. Right or not, beta? So I'll write adjacent angles are supplementary. That means they add up to 180. Got it, everyone? Are you people jotting it down? These properties are very important, Betaji.
Okay, ma'am.
So write all the properties, opposite sides, they are parallel, opposite angles, they are They're equal. Opposite sides are equal. Diagonals, they are never equal in a parallelogram. And adjacent angles are supplementary. Let's have one more property for this. I hope you have written it till here, right? So one more property that we can see here is if I'm drawing two diagonals, Pitachi. So what I'm telling you, everyone eyes on screen, please. If I'm saying that this diagonal that I have drawn, the one connecting to 120 degree each, this diagonal, let's say, is 4 centimeters. And this one's a little longer. The one connecting 60 degrees each is 5 centimeter. I'm just taking an example of it, right? If one is 4 centimeter, the other is 5 centimeter. What is the next property that I'm going to discuss with you is diagonals bisect each other. Bisect each other means if this is 4 centimeters, this portion has to be 2 centimeters and this will also be 2 centimeters. Got it, Pitaji, or not? Bisecting means cutting into two equal halves, right? Whenever two brothers they fight, mama kya karti hai? Mama make equal pieces of the thing and give it to both the brothers. है ना? ऐसे ही करती है ना mama? So mama क्या करती है? Mama bisect कर देती है चीज को and the problem is solved. है ना? What is bisecting? Cutting into two equal halves, right? So what will be the dimension of this line then? Samihan, can you please help me find this out? If you have not understood, it is okay. You can say, I'll explain, don't worry.
I didn't understand.
Betu, this is 5 centimeter long, no? I have told you.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I didn't saw it. Ma'am, it's 2.5.
Shabash, very good. So this is 2.5 and this is also 2.5. Keep it in mind that diagonals, they are not equal. Diagonals are never equal. But when you cut them into halves, the two halves of each diagonal is equal. Also keep it in mind, Betaji, that this 2.5 and this 2, they are never equal. Right? In a parallelogram, they are not equal. But they're a half, they're opposite sides, no? Just say 2.5 and the 2.5, they'll be equal. The halves of the same diagonal would be equal. Got it, Shrikant, Sridhar?
Yes, ma'am.
Prisha, understood this picture?
Yes.
Quickly note this down and then we are studying the other types of parallelograms. There are different types of parallelograms that we'll study now. So why have I started with parallelogram? Although mostly teachers, they start with squares and rectangles. Why have I started with the parallelogram? Because square is also a parallelogram. Rectangle is also a parallelogram, right? And a parallelogram is also a parallelogram. Rhombus is also a parallelogram. So now we'll study about different types of parallelograms. You jot this down quickly and then we are going ahead. Okay, before I go to the next figure, next type of parallelogram, let's do it with this parallelogram that we have. This is one parallelogram that we are having right now with us. So now I'm naming this as
Ma'am, PQRS.
I like some other types of name. I'm giving it a name as Echo. ECHO. Why cannot we name it in any fashion? We can do it now. Why only PQRS? So ECHO is my choice. Okay. Echo. So
Ma'am,
now,
can
Arav, yes, beta, yes, bacha, yes. So now this ECHO parallelogram that I have, let's write things for this. So when I say opposite sides are equal, can you tell me, Samihan, EC is equals to what? And CH equals to what?
EC equals to OH and CH equals to EO.
Very good. Very nice. Okay. Now when I say angle, opposite angles of a parallelogram, they're equal. When what will be equal to angle E? Shrikant, you tell me.
Ma'am, angle H would be equal.
Angle E equals to angle H. Okay. And angle O equals to?
Angle C.
Very good. Okay. Acha, has Sridhar prompted it to you, Shrikant?
No, ma'am.
Acha.
Ma'am, I said it.
Okay. Very nice. Good. Okay. Now, when I say that these lines, opposite lines are parallel. So, Prisha, you tell me, beta, EC is parallel to what?
OH.
And the other pair of parallel sides?
Ma'am, EO is parallel to CH.
Very good. Okay. Now, Samihan, you tell me, beta, name the diagonals that are there in this diagram.
Ma'am, EH and OC.
EH and OC.
Ma'am, OC.
And can I say that they are equal?
No, ma'am.
Very good. EC and OH, they are not equal in a parallelogram. Okay, beta. And clearly, it is so visible, no? This one's smaller than this one. Right or not, everyone? So we can clearly see that both the diagonals are not equal. Okay, if I name the center point as, if I name this as A. So tell me the side equal to EA. This Shrikant will tell me. No, Sridhar will tell me. This is Sridhar's turn. Sridhar, tell me, beta. EA equals to what?
Ma'am, EA equals to AH.
Okay. And OA equals to?
Ma'am, OA equals to AC.
Okay. Good. So can anyone tell me the last property? We have discussed about sides. Opposite sides equal, opposite sides parallel, opposite angles equal, but diagonals not equal and diagonals bisecting each other.
Ma'am, adjacent angles.
Very good, very good. So adjacent angles are what, Samihan?
Ma'am, supplementary.
Very good. That means if E is 70 degree, what is angle O?
Ma'am, 110.
Very good. And Shrikant, you tell me one thing. If E is 70 degree, O is 110 degrees, what is C and H? I cannot hear you, Bacha, you're muted.
Ma'am, if E is 70 degrees and O is 110 degrees, then H would be 70 degrees and C would be 110 degrees.
Bravo. Very nice. So you have understood the properties of parallelogram very nicely, right? Right, everyone? Now I am moving to the next drawing the diagram. Explain this to you. Okay. Now we have this Venn diagram in front of us to understand the types of quadrilaterals very nicely. Now this diagram here tells me that there is a bigger type of quadrilaterals which are known as parallelograms, which I can draw like I have drawn it earlier. Opposite lines parallel, right? Right, Betaji? So this line equals to this line and this line double checked with equals to this, right? And opposite sides are parallel as well, right? So what I have drawn just now is a parallelogram, right? And when I draw a rhombus, this rhombus is what? Is also a parallelogram only. So it has also got its, because it has got all the sides equal, can I say that yes, this is equals to this? And if all the sides of a rhombus are equal, so I can all check it with a single line, right? The single line checking tells us that all the lines are equal. right? So rhombus has got all four sides equal. That means it's a special type of a parallelogram in which the adjacent side is also equal to this, right? Got it, everyone, or not? So this has made all the four sides equal. This was rhombus. Now what is a square? When again all the four sides are equal. Abhi will discuss about the angles as well. What is the difference between all the angles of a square and angles of rhombus? So all four sides are equal in a square as well. So square again is what? It's a special type of a parallelogram only, right? And then what's a rectangle? A rectangle is, again, when you have opposite sides equal and parallel. So see that this diagram, everyone, all the four figures that I have just now drawn have got all the opposite sides equal and all the opposite sides parallel. Right, everyone, or not? So the criteria of proving some given figure, a parallelogram, is proving its opposite sides to be equal or proving its opposite sides to be parallel, both the pairs, or proving just one pair parallel and equal both. So what am I trying to tell you here is, please take a note of it, that to prove given figure a parallelogram, how do we do it? There are three conditions. One, prove both pair of sides equal. This is one way of doing it. So that means if I have this diagram in front of you and I call it ABCD. So to prove this ABCD are parallel, what should be done? AB should be said equal to CD and AD should be said equals to BC. So you either have to prove both these sides equal, or what you can do here, or you can prove both the pairs of sides to be parallel. Both pair of sides parallel. Okay, bacha? There is a third way as well to this. We can do this with a third way as well. What is the third one? Take only one pair, any one pair. AD and BC have taken one pair. Any one pair, if you prove it to be parallel and equal as well. So when I say that AD is equals to BC, and when I say AD is parallel to BC, when I say both the things for the same pair, then also this given figure is proved to be a parallelogram. Got it, everyone, or not? These are the three ways of proving a parallelogram, the given figure a parallelogram. Okay. There is one more way of doing it. There is one more way of doing it, that is based on angles. When you prove both the pairs of opposite angles to be equal, then also the given figure becomes a parallelogram. There is a fourth way of doing it, but that is based on angles. Okay. So abhi tak the three ways that you have understood, it is based on what? It is based on sides. You can write that also. The fourth way also you can write opposite pair of angles, they are equal. If you prove opposite pair of angles to be equal, that given figure also becomes a parallelogram. Got it, everyone?
Got it, ma'am.
This you will use in the last exercise, Betaji. Abhi I have not checked if that exercise is rationalized or not this year. Abhi I have not checked that. But earlier, last year tak to ye questions, they are so common. Prove that rhombus is a parallelogram. Prove that the given figure is a rhombus. Prove that given figure is a square. So you always start by proving that given diagram to be a parallelogram first. So this property of proving the given figure a parallelogram is very important to be understood. Okay, Betaji? Without this, aage geometry you people would find tough. So always keep it in mind whenever they are asking you to prove the given figure, a square, a rectangle, or a rhombus. That means you'll prove them a parallelogram first. And how will you prove this? I have given you 4 ways of doing it. Got it, beta? Clear, everyone?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hanji, beta ji.
Ma'am, sorry I joined late. Ma'am, what were you teaching?
Abhi, we are discussing properties of parallelograms, beta, and types of parallelogram, and I am developing the concept, the base for the exercise first, bache.
Okay, ma'am, can you explain it again?
This is a vast topic that I have covered till now, beta. You are 45 minutes late, bache, for this session. So I have recorded for you. We are recording this session, and our recording is going on now. Yes. So I've recorded this session for you, beta. I'll post it on YouTube. You watch it from there. And if there are any doubts, don't worry. Let me know. I'll clear. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
अभी आगे जो समझा रही हो ना, start focusing on that. And
Yes,
please
ma'am.
don't come late for your sessions, beta. Okay. So now we are trying to understand kites first. What are kites? Everyone must have observed in kites, you have got these two sides equal, right? And then the other two sides, they are equal. So this diagram wherein opposite sides are never equal, you call them kites. And in this adjacent sides are equal. Got it, everyone, or not?
Got it, ma'am.
When adjacent sides are equal, when only one pair of adjacent side is equal, that is called a kite, which is not a parallelogram. In some books, you will find kites to be in parallelograms as well. How come? You'll find a circle that goes like this. So you name them as kites. So they'll say that some kites, they look like this, and some kites, they also look like a rhombus. And rhombus being a parallelogram, you can include it there. Right, beta? And because a rhombus has got all four sides equal. So when you draw this and this also equal, this kind of a kite, this becomes a parallelogram. So in some books, you'll find kites to be a little, some of the kites to be in the parallelogram category also. But in most of it, you will find kites different. Because kites ka basic property is only one pair of adjacent sides to be equal. Okay? Got it? Chalo. Abhi next we are studying trapezoids. What are trapezoids? We can also call them as trapeziums. Trapeziums. Both mean the same. Trapezium and trapezoids. Now, what are trapezoids? In trapezoids, both lines of parallel opposite lines, they are not parallel. Only one pair of line is parallel. So when I draw two lines parallel like this, and when I draw two sides that are not parallel, we call it a trapezoid. Got it, everyone? So the basic property of a trapezoid is only one pair of opposite side is parallel. Got it, bache? Got it, everyone, or not?
Got it, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this diagram that I've drawn, whenever I draw this, now it looks like the rat catcher to me, no, which I used to see it in my childhood in my houses. No? ये rat catcher जैसा नहीं लग रहा है? ऐसा ही होता था हमारे घर में तो जब हम छोटे थे ना, वुडन होता था ये. तो ये जो rat catcher है, ये ट्रिपोजॉइड है कि नहीं? I want to ask.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it depends.
No, ma'am.
Sometimes it's a cuboid, sometimes it's ma'am.
Cuboid?
No, ma'am.
Cuboid,
Yes,
3D figures की तो बात ही नहीं कर रहे बेटो हम अभी.
no, ma'am. It's not of the shape.
Ma'am, no, ma'am, it's not.
It's of rectangle.
It's a rectangle. Shrikant saying it's a rectangle.
Ma'am, it's not a rectangle.
No, ma'am.
How can
And
this
it's
be a
not a
rectangle? But a
triangle.
rectangle में तो both the pair of opposite sides they are parallel and equal. तभी तो हमने we have kept a rectangle in the parallelogram category.
No, ma'am. He's saying that the rat catchers are rectangles.
Rat catcher तो बेटा मैंने ऐसे ही क्लास को लाइट फीलिंग देने के लिए एक जोक करा किया. बच्चे थोड़ी अभी तो we are only talking about 2D figures, no, that can be drawn on a plane. तो
Ma'am,
अभी
this is not a trapezoid.
this is not a trapezoid. Okay, Samihan finally saying not a trapezoid. You tell me, Shrikant.
Ma'am, it is a trapezoid.
Okay, Sridhar, you tell me your vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it is a trapezoid. Prisha, you tell me. It is a trapezoid. Okay, Anaga, you tell me, beta.
Ma'am, it is a trapezoid.
Yes, beta ji, it is a trapezoid, Samihan. Why? Because only one pair of side is parallel. No, dekho, this is parallel to this one. The other one that you can see here, this is not parallel. So of course, this is a trapezoid, right? Okay, now let me tell you one more thing about trapezoids. That there can be one thing which you call as isosceles trapezoid. What is isosceles trapezoid? An isosceles trapezoid is when you draw the non-parallel sides to be equal. Obviously, parallel ones, they cannot be equal. Why parallel sides, they are not equal? Because if they are equal, so ye wala lines would also be parallel, no? So this will become a parallelogram. What's the difference of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Hai na? So what is this? This is a trapezoid. And when the non-parallel sides of a trapezium, they are equal. So isosceles trapezoid is with non-parallel sides equal. When non-parallel sides are equal in a trapezoid, you call it a isosceles trapezoid. Got it, everyone, or not?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
is this diagram, Venn diagram in front of you, giving you a picture memory? What are kites? Trapeziums are different from parallelograms. Rhombus, it is different from kites. Rectangles, they are different from trapezoid. Rectangles, rhombus, and square, they are all types of parallelogram. And square is a special category of rhombus and rectangle both. Right? Got it? So, if I ask you, are all the rhombuses a parallelogram? What is your answer? Keep an eye on the diagram and then evaluate for your answer. Are all the rhombuses a parallelogram?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because the complete bag of rhombus I have kept it in the parallelogram category, no? So that means there is no rhombus which cannot be a parallelogram, right? Samihan, clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a very important one marker that is asked in exam, beta ji. Isliye I am asking you. Okay, tell me, are all these squares rectangles? Who will tell me? Samihan will tell me. Are all these squares rectangles? Look in the Venn diagram. No. Why not? Because there is only a small category of a small portion which we call as a square from the complete rectangle category. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we can summarize that squares are also a special type of rectangles only. Right or not, Bitaji? Clear now, everyone? Okay. Now tell me, are all squares parallelograms? Anaga, you tell me, Bita.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Because the entire square category is lying in that parallelogram category only. Okay. Shrikant, you tell me, Bita, are all parallelograms rectangles?
Ma'am?
Are
No.
all parallelograms a rectangle?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Ma'am, because there are because there are other shapes like rectangle, square, and rhombus.
Because there is only a small portion. In a rectangle is a very small portion and the product category is parallelogram. And the other category is rhombus. It is not lying in the rectangle category, right? And there are different parallelograms which are not in the rectangle category. Because rectangle mein to all the angles are 90 degree each. But all the parallelograms, they don't have all the angles 90 degree, no? Like we have discussed with 60, 110 degree. So that means all the parallelograms are not rectangle, but all the rectangles, they are parallelograms. Got it, everyone, or not? So if you have this picture memory in your head of this Venn diagram, you'll be able to answer those 1 markers in the exam then. Got it, bacha?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So now we are discussing another type of parallelogram. The first parallelogram that I cover always is a rectangle. I'll cover all three side by side, okay? It will be easy to summarize it then. So this is a rhombus that I have drawn. And this is a square. What is the difference between the both? In a square, I'm making sure all the angles at the vertex, they are 90 degrees. Are they looking like 90? Yes, they are, right? And this angle, it is looking like 90 only.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I have made sure that this is a rhombus wherein the angles are not 90 degrees, they are different.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, it feels like they are of 120 degrees.
Yes, 60 and 120 type, no? They are not all of 120. How can a quadrilateral have all the angles 120? 120 times 4 is more than 360.
No, ma'am, 60 and 120.
Yes. Abhi we'll discuss the property. Start discussing. So when I name this as pump, no, pump I can't name. No, there cannot be two letters. So I'm naming this as short, SHOT. I love this category of names. This came from NCERT only few years back. Naming quadrilaterals like this. It clears the concept that it's not always PQRS or ABCD or XYZW. It can be anything, right?
Ma'am, can I name the next one?
Okay, tell me.
Ma'am, no. KNOW.
Very good. KNOW. ऐसे you can select any of the four letters, okay?
And the next one should be ALKA.
Oh wow. How can that be ALK? The choice is very good, but how can 2 points be named as ALK?
Ma'am, may I say the next one?
Yes.
Ma'am, true. TRUE.
Oh wow, lovely. True. What a choice. Good now, everyone. So you can name the quadrilaterals with any four alphabets. Now this SHOT short, which is a rectangle. This rectangle, let's write the properties for it first. So the first two properties for parallelogram and rectangle, they are the same. So quickly write it down and try to be like a little spacious. In both the diagrams, there should be 5 lines ka difference. Why am I telling you to do this? Because all the properties should be written in front of a rectangle, no? So leave 5 lines between two diagrams. Okay. Geometry means very important to be neat. Nobody would draw a diagram like this. Don't do this, please. A single stroke has to be there. So rectangle mein I am writing opposite sides equal and parallel. In single line, I have summarized both the things. Opposite sides equal and parallel. If you find my handwriting a little tough, I can write this in bookish script also, or I can type as well. So whenever you find it hard, start reading that, let me know. Okay. So opposite sides equal and parallel written, beta ji.
Yes, ma'am.
And ahead of it, if you have space, write SD equals to HO, ST parallel to HO, SH parallel to TO, SH equal to TO. For both the pairs, write parallel and equal both. Why are we doing this when we have written opposite sides equal and parallel? We are just trying to spend some more time on the same property so that we grasp it well. Okay. Abhi, written everyone, should I move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, can I here also say opposite angles are equal?
Yes, ma'am.
And can I here say that the adjacent angles are supplementary? Right or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, beta, adjacent angles are 90 and this is also 90. They are supplementary or no? They are co-interior angles, but they are equal as well, right? So that means this is one special property of parallelogram that we know opposite angles, they are equal in a rectangle also, and adjacent angles in a rectangle also are supplementary. It's just that In this special case, all the angles happen to be 90 degree each. So I'll write all angles or simply all right angles. All angles are 90 degree each. Got it, beta? Should I move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now in parallelograms, we studied about diagonals, right? And we studied that the diagonals, they are of different lengths. Why was it different there? Because the angle was not 90. The lines were not standing straight on each other. They were bent like this or like this, right? So when the lines were bent, the two diagonals, they happen to be different, right? But in this case, when I draw two diagonals, clearly observe beta, the length of HT is equals to the length of SO. So that means rectangle is a special parallelogram where diagonals happen to be equal. Got it, beta ji, or not?
Yes,
And,
ma'am.
and if I say that SO equals to HT equals to 5 centimeter. In parallelograms, we know that diagonals bisect each other, right? So if I name this as A, so this HA equals to AT equals to 2.5 because 2.5 plus 2.5 together will be 5, right or not? है ना? And this SA and AO, they'll both be also 2.5. So इसका मतलब all the segments of diagonals here are also equal. Because the diagonals, they are equal, इसीलिए their halves are also equal. है ना? Anada, is it right or not? If you have
Yes,
4
ma'am.
toffees in both of your hands, right? And if you give
Yes.
half of both the hands to Alka ma'am, yum. So, what is left in your hand? 2 each. And equal, no? Equal in both the hands. So you have cut 2 equal things into halves. So the parts also would become equal. Right, everyone or not? So halves of 2 equal things, they're also equal. Got it or not? In 9th standard, you'll read this as an axiom. Chale abhi aage chale?
Yes, ma'am.
So diagonals, they are equal, right? So we have discussed here about, and one property I forgot to write is diagonals are bisecting also. Diagonals bisect. The word bisect means, bi means two, and sect means sections. So when you have 2 uniform sections, you call it bisect. Similarly, the word trisect means 3 equal sections. When you divide a thing into 3 equal parts, you call it trisect. But here we are studying about bisecting. So diagonals bisect each other. Got it, everyone, or not? Noted this down? Any issue?
Got it, ma'am.
Now we are studying about rhombus. So what is a rhombus? A rhombus is a parallelogram. I've started by calling it a parallelogram to tell the trainer, the teacher, that we know that the opposite sides of a rhombus, they're also parallel and they're equal. So when I say rhombus is a parallelogram, that means I'm saying that I know their opposite sides are parallel and equal. Right, beta ji? And their diagonals would bisect each other, right? So let me start by conclusion here. Opposite sides are equal. Adjacent sides are also equal in a rhombus. That means all the sides are equal, right? So let me conclude this by writing that all 4 sides are equal. When I say all 4 sides are equal, this is very, very obvious. Opposite sides are also equal, right? Right or not, everyone?
Yes.
Shrikant, clear or not, beta?
Clear, ma'am.
Is Sridhar listening?
Ma'am, I'm right here. I was
Good.
taking notes.
Okay, good. Very nice. So all four sides are equal. I have noted this here, right? Now let's conclude about the angles. Just like any other parallelogram, the opposite angles are equal. Therefore, this one is looking like an acute angle to me, and this one's also looking like an acute angle to me. Right? Both the opposite angles are equal. And the other ones, they are looking like obtuse. This one is obtuse, this one's also obtuse. Right, beta ji? So opposite angles are equal. All four angles are not equal in a rhombus. When all four angles become equal, that rhombus becomes a square. Right? So when I say it's a rhombus, that means I am telling that the opposite angles are equal. And they're always like, if one pair is acute, the other pair is obtuse. Okay. Now let's discuss about the diagonals. Samihan, are the two diagonals equal or not?
No.
Clearly no, right? It's looking like more like a cross, no? A
Yes,
plus
ma'am.
sign, hai na? So I'll write this as diagonals are not equal. Okay, bacha? But like any other parallelogram, diagonals will bisect each other. Aren't they bisecting? Therefore, this half is equals to this half, right? Looking like that or not?
Yes, ma'am.
And this half equals to this half.
Yes.
So
ma'am.
diagonals are bisected. So I'll write this as diagonals bisect each other. Okay, beta. Now there is one additional property of a rhombus. When I say that it is looking like a plus sign to us, is it correct to say that they are standing at right angles to each other? Because in a plus sign only, no, you can see both the lines standing perpendicularly to each other. Right or not, beta? So when I say that these lines, they are bisect each other, I will add to it at right angles or perpendicularly. So I can also say that diagonals perpendicularly bisect each other. What am I adding here? The word perpendicular. Tell me if it is not clear to any one of you. When I say that this diagonal is standing at a right angle to this, that means the yellow diagonal is bisecting the blue one. The yellow one is bisecting the blue one at 90-degree angles. Right or not, everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So when I say diagonals bisect each other, why add a different line to it that they are perpendicular to each other? Let's write as they are perpendicularly bisecting to each other. Clear or not, everyone? We
Got
can
it, ma'am.
say as a second line also diagonal bisect each other and diagonals are perpendicular to each other. That is also absolutely correct. To summarize it in one line, I'll say diagonals perpendicularly bisect each other or diagonals bisect each other on diagonals bisect each other perpendicularly. Right, everyone or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
चले अभी बेटा आगे नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी करें स्क्वायर की.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So square may also write the same property. I don't have space abhi to write it, so you people write it by yourselves. I don't want to erase anything from screen yet. So all four sides are equal. Yes, all four sides are equal. Now you write all four angles are 90-degree each. All angles are 90-degree each. In a square, all the angles at the vertices, they are all 90-degree each. Right, bache?
Ma'am, but
Anjali?
but isn't it 60 degree?
नहीं नहीं बेटा ध्यान से
Ma'am, what was the second point? Can you repeat?
Ma'am, when ma'am, but a square has 60 degrees. That's when it makes 180
बेटा, that
degrees.
is equilateral triangle you are talking about. Equilateral triangle में each angle is 60 degree. A square में each angle is 90 degree. बेटा,
Okay, ma'am.
confusion sort हुआ?
Sorry.
Yes. कोई बात नहीं, चले अभी आगे. So have you written all angles are 90 each? All four sides are equal. Now when I draw, देखो, whenever you have 90 degree angles, no diagonals have to be equal, because when the figure becomes teda meda, if you squeeze it from one side, narrower from one side, तभी diagonals become unequal. Like in this rhombus, देखो, I'll try to do it in front of you, no? Where should I do it? Chalo, I'm creating a patch, temporary patch on screen. Abhi, I'll clear this later. So, देखो बेटा, this, when I have narrowed it from one side, no, one angle I am decreasing, the one on the top and the one at the lower end. When I am narrowing that, so the other angles on the left and right side of it is broadening, right? है ना बच्चे? So this is a rhombus, right? When both the angles, they are becoming different in measures, so that is a rhombus. But when with the same diagram, I'm trying to make sure that the angles at the vertex, they happen to be 90 degree. The same figure with all four sides have become a square. Okay, बेटा? तो देखो, अगर मैं square ऐसे भी बनाती, है ना? I have only tilted it a little and made that the one I made earlier. So the third one and second one, they're both squares. And the first one that I drew was a rhombus. Got the difference between rhombus and square, beta? What is the difference between a rhombus and a square? And whenever you have a square like this, the diagonals, they have to be equal, because lines are standing straight on each other, no? They are not bent like this. है ना बेटा? देखो, if I draw like this, this becomes a square, no? Right? But when the lines, they bend like this, what is this now? Now this happens to be a rhombus if all the four sides are equal.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
the opposite sides are equal, all four sides are not equal, adjacent sides are not equal, you will call this as a parallelogram. But when I'm drawing it from a square, so this is a square. Now I am bending its side like a wiper, no? On either of the sides. This becomes a rhombus. Got it, Samihan, or not? And when it's a square, when the lines are standing straight, diagonals will always be equal. Got it, bache, or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this clear to everyone or not?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
So write one property of a square, that diagonals, they are equal. Diagonals perpendicularly bisect each other also. Because it is similar to rhombus, the diagonals that are bisecting each other, they are perpendicular as well. So I'll try to make it relatable for you. Dekho, when I discussed about parallelogram mein, let's only discuss diagonal ka property, if they are equal or not, if they are bisecting or not, and if they are perpendicular or not. I'm only discussing three properties of diagonal in all four categories that we have. Keep this in mind. This is very important, beta, in 8th and 9th and 10th. So focus on screen, please. Focus here. Abhi, I'm discussing about three properties of diagonals. Diagonals, are they equal? Do they bisect, or are they perpendicular or not? So when I say for a parallelogram, diagonals, they are not equal, but they bisect each other. They are never perpendicular to each other. Got it, everyone? For a rectangle, when I say diagonals, they are equal. They bisect each other, but never perpendicular. For a rhombus, when I say diagonals, they are not equal. Again, just like parallelogram, hai na? Some property from parallelogram, some from rectangle. So I'll say that they are not equal like parallelogram, but they bisect each other, right? And perpendicularly they bisect. Got it, everyone, or not? Diagonals not equal, but they perpendicularly bisect each other. Got it, everyone?
Got it, ma'am.
In a square, all the properties of diagonal are checked. Are they equal? Yes, they
Yes,
are. Are they bisecting each other? Yes, they are bisecting. Are they perpendicular to each other? Yes, they are perpendicular.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it, everyone, or not?
Got it,
Yes,
ma'am.
So square के लिए have you written all four properties? All four sides are equal.
Yes,
All angles are 90 degree each. Diagonals are
Yes,
equal.
ma'am.
Diagonals perpendicularly bisect each other. Has everyone written? Have everyone written that?
yes, ma'am.
Written, ma'am. Noted.
Noted.
Chalo. Abhi, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a table for you so that you don't forget this later. Making a table for you here. I'll be drawing the figure. And in this, I'll check 3 different properties of parallelograms, of diagonals. So I am first of all drawing a parallelogram. Then I am drawing a rectangle. Then I am drawing a rhombus.
This also.
Yes, Betaji, yes. I'll try to make my rectangle look a little different from square. Right, bache? So when I say this is about diagonals only. Abhi I'm only concluding diagonals ka property because this is introduced they introduced this year only to you people. No? Diagonals you didn't read earlier. So diagonals, are they equal? The first property. Do they bisect? Or are they perpendicular? So are the diagonals equal in a parallelogram? No, they are not equal. Are diagonals equal in a rectangle? Yes. Are diagonals equal in a rhombus? No. Are diagonals equal in a square? Yes. So where are they equal? Whenever you have 90 degree each ke angles, no, the diagonals are equal always. Got it, Betaji? Is it easy to
Yes,
relate
ma'am.
now? Now, do they bisect each other? Yes. Do they bisect each other? Yes.
Yes.
Do they bisect each other? Yes. Do they bisect each other? Yes. See, whether the diagonals are equal or not. If they are equal, even then they are bisecting each other, cutting into two equal halves. If they are not even equal, then also they are cutting each other in equal halves. Got it, no, beta? And now are they perpendicular? No. Are they perpendicular in this? No. Are they perpendicular to each other? Yes. Are they perpendicular to each other? Yes. So देखो बेटा, to summarize here, in a square diagonal की all the properties are a check, are on yes, right? Diagonals of a square, they are equal. Diagonals of a square, they bisect each other, and diagonals of a square, they are perpendicular to each other as well. Clear everyone or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, ma'am.
Now I think this will give you the permanent memory for quadrilaterals, and if this is done, parallelograms ka chapter in 9th and 10th would become very easy for you people. ठीक है बच्चे, clear everyone?
Clear, ma'am.